On behalf of the basketball team and myself, we had a plaque made for Mark. I'll read it off real quick. On behalf of the Sweetwater Boys basketball program, we would like to present this plaque to the Baca family for all the hard work and time that Mark put into our basketball program. From Mark's sophomore year at Sweetwater, he has been a pillar in the Sweetwater gymnasiums. He has dedicated thousands of hours to filming our basketball games and helping at all the fundraisers throughout the years. Not one to hold back his comments, Mark could be heard giving his opinions in the locker room, team huddles, and coaches meetings. Mark, you'll truly be missed by all who knew you. You gave your life to Sweetwater basketball. Today we honor you for all you have done, and we are blessed to have you in our lives.
Thank you, Jesse. And one last thing that I left out, that my fault. A couple of weeks ago, they had a football banquet right here, and they announced that for the next upcoming football season, Mark Baca's name will be on top of their football helmets. So I thank all of you again.
All right, I know we've been sitting here for a while, so I'm gonna make my thing real quick. You know, I guess the best way to put it is, and I think of principals for some reason, not you, Ralph Mora. I think of principals who come here when Mark's been here in the last 15 years, mostly football and basketball. And the best way to put it, if you didn't know Mark, you wouldn't understand Mark. You wouldn't know, you don't understand Mark. And city council people, principals, admin, you know, oh damn, here he comes. You know, that's how they looked at Mark sometimes, and they feared Mark. They feared Mark. Trust me. I worked every football game in the last 20 years maybe. And any of you came to football games, you see that radio on the side of my side. And that radio had all the admin on it. So I heard everything being talked about at those football games. And I thought the funniest thing in the world was they honored the football team from 1984 and 85, and they put a canopy in the end zone this year. And they were playing East Lake, and the game was tight, came down to the wire, right? So Tony was sitting out there with somebody else, and I went out there and sat with him. And I didn't know Mark was right behind me. Mark followed me out there. And I sat down and turned around, and Mark was standing there, and he sat down with me. Well, the game came right down, I'm telling you, last play of the game, right? And Mark gets up and starts walking towards the field goal post. And he's clapping, and you know, typical Mark, he's fired up. He wanted the players to see him and get pumped up and win that game on the last play. In my head, I hear the radio, and I could hear admin. Baca's in the end zone almost, get him off that end zone. And I'm yelling at Mark, get over here, you're pissing him off, Mark. He's like, whatever, you know, he could care less, right? And I'm looking over in the corner, and our principal in Zunza was in that corner, and she's just like this, staring at Mark with the radio right here. And she's just watching every move. I'm telling you, I guarantee you she missed the last play of that game because she was focused on Mark. And that was just Mark, right? Mark would show up to basketball games, and he'd show up in the front over here where the ASB kids run the door, right? And Mark would walk in, and he'd go, yeah, my name's right there, and just keep walking. His name was nowhere. Mark wasn't paying to come to watch one of our games when he puts in all that time, and I don't blame him. So in 04, I got hired at Mar Vista High School, right? So I had to go to Mar Vista, didn't have to. It was basically learn how to be a varsity coach, all the paperwork that comes with it. And I was at Mar Vista for 7 years, and every year Mark was on me. And he's like, you gotta come back. The program's a mess, they're not winning, you gotta come back. And I try to tell Mark, you know, we don't have those athletes that we used to have in the past. I said, and when we do get good athletes, they're going to the free travel ball schools and that kind of stuff. They're being recruited away from National City. So in 2010, we had a new principal, and I thought it was time to come back. Is Miss P here? Mary Ann Peralt here? Miss P back here. Miss P took me to Mar Vista. And Miss P met with me and she said, it's time for you to go back to Sweetwater. So I came, I did an interview, and it took a couple of weeks, and I got hired. And oh, by the way, a year or two later, Miss P came back to Sweetwater also and took over that softball program that you see as a monster down there, down in that corner over there. So when I came back, and you know, it's all about the little things, right? It's the little things. When I got hired, they put it in the paper, and Mark blew it up on Facebook. And I mean, he just blew it up. And I'm like, wow, no pressure, right? Mark just told the world we're gonna start winning. And well, he was right. He was right. We started winning. And in 2014, if you see that banner up there in 2014, it says 25-0 on it. We actually went 28-0 before we lost the game. And we lost in the championship. It is what it is. It happened. Nothing we can do about it now. But that year, Mark made the most incredible videos you would ever see. I am telling you, Mark was always in the right place at the right time that year when good things happened. And going back to, I think it was David talked about Mark getting into the games and being on the field. It's a CIF championship game. I'm in the back. I'm away from my players. In fact, I think I might have been sitting with Ralph Moore at the time, watching the game before us. And, I don't know if you remember this, Mark. The assistant CIF commissioner came up to me when I was sitting there. He goes, hey, this guy's claiming to be your cameraman, and he's trying to show me a NBC sports pass from 2006. And I said, is his name Mark Walker? He goes, yes. I go, he's good to go, let him in. He goes, okay. And you can see the expressions on this guy's face. Mark gave him a hard time for a few minutes. There's no doubt about that. And believe it or not, Mark used that 2006 NBC Sports, I don't know where he got it from. He used that 2006 CIS pass, or NBC Sports pass, everywhere. He got on the field at the state championship 2 years ago up in Northern California. I'm telling you, Mark found a way. Fundraisers, you know, most of you come to our fundraisers. Mark was at every fundraiser, encouraging people. And Mark was talking to councilmen like they were his best friends. And I go, dude, I thought you hated that guy. I don't want to say no names. I said, I thought you hated that guy. And Mark goes, yeah, man, but we need to get some money from him tonight. Mark worked the room, no doubt about it. Some of the fun times with Mark were, and I'm talking about these last 15 years, of course, when Mark was around us a lot. He was everywhere. Everywhere basketball team was or had something going on, Mark was there. And right here in this gym, you know, Mark, he was here all the time, showed up to practices. I'll never forget, there's timeouts. We were in a timeout, I'm talking, I turned around, and I bumped into Mark. I'm like, how the hell did Mark even get on the floor to get into our timeout? He found a way, right? Mark always found a way. And I said this earlier at one of I forgot where it was, but when Mark had his first cancer treatment, I'm coming to our game that night, and he calls me. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to my game. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going home from the hospital. And I don't know if he was with his parents or if he was driving by himself. And Mark said, okay, good luck tonight. All right, I'll let you know how it goes. So I get to the gym, the game starts, and I'm sitting there, and there was a timeout. I get up and start talking to my team. I walk back to my bench, and Mark is sitting right behind my bench. Here's a guy who just found out he had cancer a few days earlier, went to his first treatment, would probably beat him up a little bit, and he's at our basketball game sitting right behind me. I mean, if that's not an inspiration for our players that night, I don't know which would be. And unfortunately, that was Mark's last game with us. And it hurt. It hurts not having him around. The energy he brought to our program, he taught our players about the past, about all those guys sitting up here, about the winning days. He talked about all that kind of stuff. And Mark was special. And like I said, if you don't know Mark, you wouldn't understand him. And that's the best way to put it. Real quick, I want to thank Linda, Anna, Trisha, my wife came up here with me today, who helped set all this up. We've been working on this for a while, and the girls kept texting, we're gonna meet, and I'm like, no, I'm still in basketball season, you know? And I said, we got stuff we have to get through before I could focus on this event. And there was a little hiccup with the gym. I didn't think we were gonna get the gym. And our principal and assistant principal, they stood up for me and they gave it to us. And here we are. Absolutely. I think we all know he's up there just with a big smile right now and looking down on all of you guys. And like I said, or like Coach said in his speech, you know, Mark didn't think he was loved that much by people. And it was a complete opposite. And he would give you a hard time, like he probably gave all of you at some point of his life. And he'd come to our golf committees and he pissed them off, and nobody pisses him off. Tony exploded one day with Mark. And I left there, I was like, wow. I haven't even seen that side of Tony, ever. And that's Mark, right? Mark will get under your skin, and then he'll give you a hug and a kiss, and he'll go home with a cigarette and his motorcycle, you know? By the way, if anybody finds Mark's keys, let the parents know, because we can't find the keys of Mark's motorcycle. Did we find them yet? Nope, still haven't found them. But if there's any locksmith out here to go and fix that bike for them, they need it out their driveway.
He doesn't want anyone else to drive it.
Anyways, I want to thank all the speakers, all of you for coming. I know sitting in the bleachers is not a good thing. It could hurt you for the rest of your day. There's some coffee, we got some cake over here. I appreciate all of you showing up tonight. And this ain't the end of Mark, I'll tell you that. Every time I walk in this gym, I'm gonna remember Mark. And I hope you guys all do too, because Mark was special. And I don't know any room or gym or city council meeting where Mark walked in and didn't light the building up, because that was Mark. Thank you for coming, I appreciate everybody. You guys have a good day.
Oh, hold on. Let's give a big hand to this man right here. Without him, this event would not have happened. Thank you, Tony.